I am in England. In the land of castles and kings, horses go hand in hand with the history of both England and Scotland. The reason I came to the UK was to, of course, explore a new land, have fun, and ultimately research its horsemanship history. The first recorded English horses that came to America were with the settlement of Jamestown in 1609, and another shipment of horses in 1612. But across the pond from which they came, the horsemanship history of the UK goes back thousands of years. So of course, to explain this, and better understand our own American horsemanship, why not go directly to the source? Starting with the most recognizable of British equestrian sites, the Household Cavalry. The definition of a household cavalry is simply a cavalry belonging to a royal household, while officially being part of the royal army. France, for example, had its own household cavalry belonging to La Maison du Roi, or the House of the French Monarchy. This was, of course, before the French Revolution. My number one goal of this trip to the UK was to research the household cavalry and visit the stables, which also houses a museum. Now it is an active military barracks, so while I couldn't go behind the scenes, I could observe from all the public areas. These historic headquarters are located by the Hyde Park Barracks. And the daily guards are deployed from this premise, simply known as the Horse Guards Building. Fortunately for horse lovers like me, the guards stand, rather famously, outside during day hours. They also have inspections once, sometimes twice daily. I was present for an inspection at 1100. I will post a longer video of this inspection on my channel soon. And so, the Household Cavalry are situated on the famous Horse Guards parade grounds. We've seen the trooping of the colors take place on these grounds for certain royal ceremonies, such as the monarch's birthday, or late Queen's Platinum Jubilee. Their dress uniform design is the same kind they've been sporting since the 19th century. First thing that is important to mention is that the Household Cavalry is composed of two different units of horse. One, the Lifeguards, and two, the Blues and Royals. Starting with the Lifeguards, There is a 1st Regiment and a 2nd Regiment of Lifeguards that make up the single unit of Lifeguards. They are the most senior regiment of the British Army. Basically, they are one of the oldest and most established regiments in the entire British Army. The Lifeguard trooper's tunic is almost always red, with the exception of their farriers, who sport a blue tunic. To not get confusing here, I'll talk about the farriers in a separate video because they are very fascinating and deserve their own study. So I'll do a second video speaking about just the farriers for the Household Cavalry. That being said, a typical Lifeguard trooper would be sporting a red tunic, and when mounted, a cuirass. A cuirass is that shiny armor they wear on top of their tunics. It consists of a front and a back panel that is polished steel and shaped to fit the body. The helmets are also polished steel, and they're a dragoon design. The Household's is very iconic for the high-topped horsehair plumage that bobs and waves, especially when riding at faster than a walk. The Lifeguards' helmets sport a white horsehair plumage. Second, we have the Blues and Royals Regiment. They will almost always sport the dark blue tunics. They also wear steel cuirasses and steel helmets, but their horsehair plumage is dyed red. They are the 2nd most senior regiment in the British Army, and not surprisingly, I have always loved this fact, is that their colonel is Princess Anne. She has been their colonel since 1998, and this is one reason why she always wears her military uniform for special events. Princess Anne, of course, has a history of being an Olympic-level horsewoman. Now, both the Lifeguards and the Blues and Royals are united into the Household Cavalry Mounted Regiment that performs ceremonies. Because they are positioned at Hyde Park, they can easily be dispatched to respond speedily to any emergency at the palace. Now, both offer operational troops, which deploy squadrons of troopers to fight in modern warfare, usually in the armored cavalry divisions. Both units have origins dating back to the mid-17th century. They were basically created after Charles II came back, restoring the monarchy from ruin. And I'll explain and explore more of this in a future video, diving into the history of the Household Cavalry from the 17th century to modern times. Thank you so much for watching, and until next time, both home and across the pond, let's keep exploring horsemanship and its history. Cheers!